We're going on the ultimate sandwich tour of Brooklyn, from old school Italian to some of the best pastrami in the city, and a deli going viral for delicious reasons. You don't want to miss this. We've got Greg back on the channel, native New Yorker and food guide. We are starting at David's Brisket House, and this is a sleeper pick for some of the best cured meats in the city.
It is. This is definitely under the radar. You know Katz's, you know 2nd Avenue Deli, Pastrami Queen. You may not know David's, but you will now.
I'm really excited to try this spot out.
It smells so good already.
It smells so good, and I love the vibes here. It's like an old school diner.
Yeah.
Wow. We're in the right place.
Oh yeah.
My name is Riyad Ghazali. David Brisket House originally goes back to the 1950s. When I came, I took over in 2010. We kept the same recipe, the same theme. I basically took over and I focused on the 3 items, pastrami, brisket, and corned beef, with just a limited amount of menu. We tried to cater to many people in terms of like price, budget. I did multiple sizes to try to attract more clientele. I'm a practicing Muslim. There's a sect of Muslims that will not eat anything unless it's not halal. The same thing, you have the Jewish community where they will not eat anything except it's kosher. And I needed to cater to them. So 2010, when I took over, we were neither halal or kosher. It really took me like about 5 to 6 years to figure out how to source it to get it halal. 2017, that's where we officially became halal. It's still kosher style, but I would never tell anybody it's kosher.
So do you think you've introduced a Muslim community to
I did,
food?
because there's not that many places like this. Probably like the only one that serves halal pastrami, brisket, and corned beef. We have people from all backgrounds. Americans, Africans, Asians, everybody walks in here. Typically it cooks for 4 or 5 hours, and then we have a little cooked the pastrami also for like 3 hours on tight lid. Corned beef, same process, it goes about 4 hours. Basically we don't do anything to it, we just add the seasoning and that's it. Typically use a slice machine. People use a knife to cut the pastrami. To me, I feel better to cut it with a slice machine where you could kind of measure the slice and adjust it to the liking of the customer. So this is the rye with mustard and the corned beef, the pastrami on a rye. Brisket corned beef, this is brined for about a week, cured until it changes color. This one is boiled, a little bit of acidity, but at the same time not overpowering. Then this one over here, we marinate it overnight and then we bake it in the oven for 4 or 5 hours. You're gonna taste the rub, and you're gonna taste the vegetables as well, and the brine that is cooked in. Now this one is the thinner portion of the brisket. It's cured, it's seasoned, it's frozen, it's then baked, then steamed. It has more flavor than pastrami because of the seasoning. You can tell that they're all the same cut, but different flavor profile.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
One of the best things about David's Brisket House, they offer you different size sandwiches. You don't have to spend 26 bucks for a mountainous serving of pastrami, or whatever your appetite, whatever your budget, you can find it here. This is some of the most flavorful pastrami I've ever had in my entire life. I'm telling you, like, just that first bite, I'm in love.
Those flavors there, it tastes maybe a little bit of coriander in there. And that rye bread, you really get a nice flavor from that too. Pastrami texture itself kind of crumbles. You know it's using a machine, it's a thicker sliced pastrami, excellent.
I think Riyad was a little generous with me because this sandwich is falling apart, which is a sign that I need to eat this faster, but wow, I could devour this pretty quickly.
This pastrami really is just leading off hot. I'm telling you, I've always been a Katz guy, but David's Brisket House, I've been here a few times before. It's always been like right there for me. Really good value.
Human-sized portion, that's the key, because you do think of that huge sandwich experience at like a Katz's or a Sarge's, but this is a sleeper pick and a half. I'm taking off the toothpick and I'm going in for more. This is definitely up there for me with a Katz's, a Sarge's Deli, and now if you're in Brooklyn, I'm gonna say David's Brisket House for the pastrami, for some of the best pastrami in the city.
Just enough mustard on there too, just enough to complement the meat and the bread.
This is halal meat, kosher style, a Muslim-owned business selling historically Jewish food in an African-American neighborhood. If this isn't New York, I don't know what is.
Very local community vibe, and even he said he likes to keep the prices, the smaller sandwiches at a manageable price.
He knew all the customers, he knew their orders the second they walked in. They've kept a crisp business running. It's not a Jewish deli experience unless you got a pickle.
Gotta have the pickles.
Just the right amount of sour. Doc Brown's celery. You can't go wrong with any Dr. Brown's coming to a deli.
Look at that Brooklyn Bridge in there, how appropriate.
And you said you've never tried it before.
No, and it does not taste like celery at all.
No.
So if the name scares you off, don't. It actually is really good. Very refreshing.
I'm gonna try the corned beef. He's gonna try the famous brisket.
Brisket, I mean, it's already really seeping through the bread. The bread's almost falling apart here because they dip the beef in the cooking juice, the au jus. So you have the sliced brisket, and this is not your Texas barbecue style brisket. This is a whole nother animal. Not really, technically, right? But the same animal, different style. Much more subtle. Really has kind of like a home-cooked, like comforting kind of food taste to it.
If you weren't from New York and you didn't know about this spot and you saw David's Brisket House, you might think it's a barbecue spot, right? We have the corned beef here. Equally as popular, I think, as the pastrami. Look at this mound of meat. Even for the medium size, I think you're getting an incredible value here. Big bite. I'm salivating looking at this. It's calling my name. It's a lot softer, it's a lot more tender than the pastrami. It's a little more subtle. I don't even know which one I like more. I think I like the pastrami a little bit more because I'm into that flavor, but you cannot go wrong with this corned beef either. I don't think you can go wrong with any of this stuff.
Yeah, it just steps away from the AC train or the LIRR. It definitely reaffirms it's one of my favorite pastramis in the city.
I'm blown away by how good this was. I'm a Sarge's Deli fan, my top pastrami corned beef, but these guys are in the equation now. Greg, next up, we've got Defonte's in Red Hook, and I think if you looked up the definition in a dictionary of old school Italian deli, this spot will pop up.
Absolutely. This spot's been in business over 100 years, and look at the clientele, catering to the blue-collar workers here, a lot of firefighters, police. This is a real Brooklyn institution right here.
Well, when there's a line out the door, you know you've come to the right spot, huh? I think we have like half the FDNY and NYPD here as well.
Yep.
And those guys can eat.
So I just rewatched the whole Sopranos again for like the third time, and it's got me really in the mood for a sandwich here. We got Tony, gotta get some gabagool.
The whole cast was here. I'm a Jersey boy, I love the Sopranos.
Best. How you doing? Can I get one Golden Boy special, one Chenzo 13, please? Small lunch. Small, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That moved a lot quicker than I expected.
I know. Fish Friday, they do seafood only on Friday today. Shrimp, calamari, a lot of people ordering that today. Got
a huge crowd, but we got tons of meat here and some of the best sandwiches in Brooklyn.
Beautiful car.
The New Yorker. So our camera guy, James, actually had the interesting idea for us to try to find the waterfront and film there. That's what we're doing.
I feel like this is like in Sopranos when they have like a mob sit-down, mob meeting, just like right in the middle of nowhere.
We're gonna be breaking bread, all right.
We are gonna be breaking bread.
Here we've got the Golden Boy, and I knew from the second I read that menu, this is what I was gonna order. It's chicken cutlet, melted fresh mozzarella, vodka sauce, and prosciutto, okay? You know this is gonna hit.
So I got the Chenzo 13 that's got prosciutto, soppressat has fresh mozzarella, roasted hot peppers, broccoli rabe, which I love, extra virgin olive oil, balsamic glaze.
Greg, actually, I think this is fitting us filming on the waterfront because Defonte's opened in 1922 as a spot for Italian longshoremen to eat. So this is exactly the way they would do it.
It's appropriate. And look at this, you can't really beat this view right now. I mean, you don't get the skyline, but you get Lady Liberty, you get Staten Island Ferry going by, you get the Verrazano Bridge right there.
It's not the classic tourist view, but it's still an amazing view.
Absolutely.
And speaking of amazing views, I mean, these sandwiches, they're just calling out to us. Oh man, it's had some time for like the juices and flavors to soak into the bread. Oh, so let's rock. The chicken cutlet and vodka sauce was enough. Adding the prosciutto on top, a little saltier, just a perfect combination.
The soppressat and the prosciutto is just enough saltiness, not too overwhelming. Then you have that creamy fresh mousse coming in really nicely. Get a little sweetness from the balsamic glaze, a little bitterness from the broccoli rabe, and then those peppers in there also being soaked up in that bread.
Cannot sleep on bread in an Italian deli like that. I got the hot sandwich, you got the cold one, so you want to take this home to Jersey. Good to go. You want to walk to the park, this holds up. I just love the layers to this thing.
I think an underrated part about a good sandwich is really just the assembly of it. I mean, you can see just they're experts at making this and just how they layer it and how it's all put together. It's a work of art.
Definitely. You have to know what you're doing. It's like you can't just have good ingredients. They are good sandwich makers there as well. And we saw how busy they were. They do this all day, okay? So they know what's up. I think a lot of people think of like New York, New Jersey as the big Italian pizza hub for Italian Americans. But before pizza even became huge in the US in the 1950s, these sandwiches were around first. This had way more influence than pizza did.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact it's so portable, you see blue-collar workers coming in and out, big brown paper bag, taking a sandwich with them for lunch.
The extra added experience of being right on the waterfront here. Enter the Liberty Warehouse and walk directly to the waterfront. Tons of benches here. And then go explore Red Hook. Red Hook's a super underrated neighborhood in Brooklyn that a lot of people don't know about. We're talking mob business here.
On the waste management, 30%.
25, all right. If you are visiting New York and you don't know where to eat, you've got to take Greg's Street Food Tour of Queens. I've had viewers tell me it is one of the best experiences they had visiting New York. Check the QR code or link in the description. Definitely take that tour.
Love to see you. See you soon.
Greg, we've got Farmer in the Deli, and this spot is absolutely blowing up on social media right now.
It is. I've been seeing them chop up the sandwiches. It looks like a total show we're gonna get in the process of getting the sandwich. So let's see what it's all about.
They don't make sandwiches, they build them. Like barbecue chips. Part of the shtick here is you gotta get chips to get chopped up in your sandwich. You can already hear the chopping going on in front of us. I wanna do the chopped turkey roll. Can I toss you the chips? Toss you, yeah.
Pretty cool experience. I like how seamlessly he just like placed the bread underneath it. It was already ready to go.
All right, we got a little show. Now we're gonna see how this tastes. Greg, I know that you were a little bit skeptical of it. I gotta tell you, it actually looks pretty good. It looks more like a tuna sandwich to me than it does a turkey sandwich with how chopped up it is. They've been open for over 20 years, so I don't know how long the chopping shtick has been going on, but they've absolutely been like everywhere on social media, so.
Seen the ones on Instagram with the mayo, it kind of look like slop, but this looks a lot better. There's no mayo in it.
We got the honey turkey, lettuce, tomato, Swiss cheese,
spicy mustard,
vinegar, pepper.
Yeah, on a roll.
On a roll. Better than I expected.
Spicy mustard is key here. I think if this is with mayo, I think I really would not have enjoyed it.
It's like the mom cutting up the food for the toddler. Like I have a toddler at home. We don't chop up his food this finely, but oh, look at that. It easily falls out too.
You know, I was just about to say, I think it actually keeps everything together better this way, but I might be wrong about that.
I proved him wrong. Even though you can order tuna there, just like having a really finely sliced up turkey, I'm getting a lot of the mustard though. Like I'm noticing it more than ever.
Me too.
So it's like you're mixing up the condiments a little bit more than normal, because typically you got mustard, it's just on one side of the bread or the other. Have you noticed any of the chips, by the way?
You know, I was just about to mention that we kind of neglected to talk about. You can grab any chips or Cheetos, anything you want, like Akiway style. You literally throw it to the guy behind the counter to make it. I had a couple of crunchy bites in here from those chips. Little bits in there. I'm getting them like very subtle in the taste department, more in the texture department.
Now I got the barbecue chips and it's adding a lot more flavor to it. The line is slow because you have a bit of an interaction with your sandwich maker there. People are very specific about what they want. Spend 10, 15 minutes chatting with them.
It is a very local favorite there. You can tell it's an institution in the neighborhood.
But heck, man, I think we keep looking back to the Akiway. He's like the godfather of these crazy sandwiches, right?
Makes you a sandwich you can't refuse, right?
And I have to say, of all three, this is by far the most unique and different of the sandwiches. And we're both saying how much this is kind of growing on us. Like it's messing with our minds a little bit, like your typical sensations of eating a sandwich. But I mean, don't knock it till you try it.
That's the thing. I think the way it's all chopped up really makes it seem like hefty. Something about it. Like when you take bites, you're getting bites of everything. Kind of well evenly distributed, I have to say.
It's like a really chopped up salad. Sometimes you see stuff like that. They'll chop everything up, but in sandwich form, I mean, lately in New York, what can you not put in a sandwich, right?
The cool thing about today with like all three sandwich spots, Jewish style deli, that was halal, and we went to a classic Italian deli for Italian sandwiches, and really more of your classic corner store deli, like Bodega style.
We got something for everybody here. Now you know some of the best sandwich spots in Brooklyn. We're gonna head over to Queens, where I'm gonna show you a neighborhood that has some of the best street food in all of New York. Don't watch this on an empty stomach. You've been warned.